And oh god, welcome back everyone. Welcome to another CranKy Ducklings broadcast. Welcome to Berserker Team League Valhalla Season 5 Group Stage. Oh boy, of course we are the CranKy Ducklings, and we're going to be going up against Berserker Team League, Berserker eSports this week. And in the top right hand corner of Inside and Out, we have the first player. We have the Red Zerg. It is SoulSpirit. The Berserker eSports is spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Inside and Out, representing the CranKy Ducklings. It is Dolan. From America. I do apologize. I literally woke up 10 minutes ago. Oh my god. I woke up 10 minutes ago and I am amazed by what I see before us. So we have one Team League match left here in Berserker Team League, and it is against Berserker eSports themselves, the runners of the tournament. And you know, there's some pros and cons to that. It is a bit of a rough week to have a Team League match, but we can get into that a little bit later on, as we do have a proxy 2 racks here on Inside. Now this is going to get scouted by the Overlord eventually, as the Overlord does move out towards the center of the map. But even if it does get spotted, SoulSpirit cannot quite stop it here, as because of the positioning of these Raxes, even if you pull some boys, the workers are going to be able to survive. So very, very interesting, very methodical play coming out from Dolan, as usually is the case. Meanwhile, back here on top of the ramp, bunker is on the way, but I don't know if this is really going to finish. Yeah, SoulSpirit, he pulls a couple of boys here. The SCV is forced back to the safety of these Marines. More boys are being pulled. Interesting response here. I mean, typically this is a response to a proxy 2 racks. We do see the cancel on that bunker. The Marine is forced back as well. Oh boy, I mean, this is a little lost mining time, to be fair, and it looks like, yeah, we do get the surround on the Marine. One Marine going down. The rest are still out there. Oh god. And these drones were forced quite a ways away. I do think that kind of makes that worth it for a single Marine. It looks like, do we have enough room? We do have enough room for another bunker. Marines are on the way, but oh god, the Lings are here, and with the Lings being here, I don't really see this bunker finishing. Yeah, exactly. The Lings are going to be able to dive on top of these Marines. We do now have 4 Marines in total. We have a couple of boys to help buffer as well, but god, there's just so much firepower in these Lings. Yeah, they will clean this all up. I mean, part of me feels like maybe we could have fought with those SCVs as well, just for a little bit of added extra DPS. The Marines will eventually clean, or can go toe-to-toe with these Lings. But we do have a transition back at home. You know, we do see that cancel on the bunker. We see a factory being thrown down and a CC. Bold move. Having the factory not be a part of this wall, but there we go. There is the wall with the starport. Dolan. He's coming home. Still waking up a little bit. Still waking up. It is 7 a.m. and I was casting earlier a couple of hours ago. But alas, here we go. A couple of Lings are being sent out here. SoulSpirit has been able to stabilize for the most part. Again, a little less mine time earlier, but now, you know, he's getting fully saturated on at least one of his bases, trying to saturate his other. Lings are moving out, but he is going to be finding a wall here. Dolan. Proxy 2 racks isn't the most committed opener, and it's not like a 3 or 4 racks. Ooh, a lot of Lings going down here, and we can transition beautifully into our factory, into our starport, into our CC. The other interesting thing to note is that we do have a medevac on the way, so that doesn't mean that Dolan is going to be active on the map pretty quickly with what little he has, whether he moves out with his Marines or with his 4 Hellions, or with both. Regardless, he will be active. He will be able to apply a little bit of pressure to SoulSpirit. SoulSpirit, upon seeing the starport already finished, he's going to be making a couple of Lings to defend. Ling speed is still a ways off, so SoulSpirit is going to have a bit of a hard time. He's going to have 4 queens, 5 queens actually, and a handful of Lings, which may be enough to defend as long as he is in position with what he needs. No creep connecting the bases quite yet. Here we go. Do have that 4 Hellion drop making its way across the map. Looking to try and slip into the main, but we already have a couple of queens in position, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to get damage done. We'll see, we'll see. Meanwhile, I love the transition into Stim. You know, we got our 2 Raxes pumping out Marines into a 2-on-1 essentially. We do have early tank production, but these 4 Hellions are slipping on in. We do have an Overlord in position, so SoulSpirit should be able to respond once he does take note. There we go. The Lings do react. We do have Ling speed. And these Hellions, yeah, they're not going to get too much done here. There's plenty to defend. Not enough Queens to shut down the medevac, but does push this back. Hellions trying to rotate back around here towards the natural. It looks like, yeah, again, the Hellions and the Queens are just enough here to push this back. We don't see any lost Hellions, though, so, you know, decent trades for the time being for Dolan. Just trading out Hellions for units at this point. Oh, a couple of volleys going off. And in the end, can he keep the medevac alive? It looks like he barely will. Does lose a Hellion. Again, as far as I can tell, no drone damage, unfortunately. Just a handful of Lings here and there. I think 4 Lings in total, maybe 5. Not amazing, but, you know, it's something. As SoulSpirit's getting fully saturated here on his 2 bases, he's working on his lair. 1-1, Bailey death. It's everything we should expect here. And Dolan even loses 2 more Hellions in the middle of the map. Not ideal. I mean, he did get a creep tumor. You know, it is Dolan's way of just keeping SoulSpirit a little bit in check. Because of the opener, he wasn't really able to accomplish too much, but now here we go, Dolan is moving on out. Only 1 Hellion to reinforce this army, but he's got 2 tanks, he's got a decent amount of Marines. Looking at the upgrades, we have Stim, only Stim, +1 just now starting as well. We are lacking in the combat shields, but sometimes Stim is all you need. We'll see as Dolan is setting up with a couple more Raxes as well. This push is designed to deal a little bit of damage. Bailing speed is nowhere near being done, but we do see a surround being set up here. Dolan, oh my god, he has to be very careful. He actually unsieges, doesn't commit. I love the amount of respect that Dolan is giving SoulSpirit. He doesn't want to throw away his advantage right now. Again, it is best of 1. Does make plenty of sense as Dolan backs off. He's going to rotate back around here. Doesn't want to throw away his tanks. The tanks actually are going to be coming back home. The Marines are committed to the push. Again, making a lot of sense. Has to be careful though. One of these medevacs is very weakened. So if he's a little bit too cavalier with it, it can be focused on by these Queens. Oh, but you know what? SoulSpirit, he's not looking. 2 Queens go down immediately. Can he get a 3rd? Looks like he'll get a 3rd. He'll get a 4th. He'll get a 5th. Up. And we get a hot pickup as well. Ooh, beautifully done here by Dolan. Finally getting the trades that he really wanted. Didn't lose a single Marine and shut down every Queen. Well, meanwhile, that tank count is getting higher and higher. We see another double jump coming across the map at the same time. Ooh, it looks like Dolan was looking at that last moment, but 1 Baneling does connect. Decent connection here. Half of the Marines do go down off of creep, but the other half do survive. So Dolan still has a little bit of a presence here. Double jump moving out towards the bottom right-hand corner or the right-hand side of the map. Not that many Queens in position, but the Lings do rotate over as well. This was spotted. At the same time, oh, more Banelings connect. Dolan wasn't quite paying attention, but does lose a lot of his Marines, and he won't be able to go for that multi-prong harassment. Despite that, the job doesn't make it into the main base. SoulSpirit, with a very quick response, he will be able to save the majority of these Lings. Oh! 1 Marine for 1 Baneling. Not bad there by Dolan. Does float back down towards that triangular 3rd, but there are Lings here to meet him, so in the end, SoulSpirit, he will be able to deflect all of this. A couple of Marines getting picked off, but that tank count is looking quite healthy. We don't have a lot to protect these tanks, though. We have been kind of throwing away a lot of Marines. A lot of Marines in the drop towards the left, a lot of Marines here on the right-hand side as well. Trading Marines for Banelings wherever he can. Oh. But yeah, as a result, there's not a lot of buffer here, and I worry because without too many Marines, we don't need that many Banelings to defend. Once again, 3 Queens get picked up. SoulSpirit caught asleep at the wheel. The tanks are sieging up. 5 tanks in total. It looks like the rest of the Marines are rallying across the map, but they're running into some Lings. Nicely done by SoulSpirit, catching these reinforcements. Yeah, and SoulSpirit, he's just going to dive on top of these tanks. There just isn't enough bio to protect them. Oh, despite the tank count being very high, every tank is going to be going down here. Yeah, I do think that Dolan was just a little bit too quick to pull the trigger. Another tank being rallied into its death as well. Like, I don't... I do like that he was able to preserve his tank count for so long, but yeah, this push was just a little bit too soon. Oh my god, he's actually looking to time... Mate, you don't want to be a queen for SoulSpirit. One full medevac does go down, and it looks like, yeah, the Ling Bane is going to be able to turn around and save these queens. I spoke too soon. This is honestly a pretty messy engagement. These libs, they've been dancing back and forth. The queen count gets reset once again. A lot of the creep gets cleaned up. We don't have that much banelings left. We don't have that many marines left either, to be fair. As Dolan is just buying time here to rebuild his army, make more tanks, make more marines. Third base is going to be on the way. SoulSpirit, his drone count is lacking a little bit, to be honest. But you know what? It may not matter because he's getting ready for a counterattack. 22 Lings are on the way, plus 2 melee is about to finish up. SoulSpirit is going to muster his forces and then lay siege upon this third base. And we got a lot of libs, but unfortunately they're not ideal against Ling Bane. Only one tank to defend. We're going to have a second though in a couple of seconds. Is it going to be enough? Because SoulSpirit, mate, he wants to go. Oh, as he throws down another hatchery here on the right-hand side just for Larva. SoulSpirit's army has not been spotted. The tank does get a shot off, but the Lings are pulled away and that tank is going to go down. Ooh. Plus 2 melee Lings at the same time. The drop across the map does take down the Spore. Does at least buy a little bit of time, forcing SoulSpirit back home. Yeah, I just now noticed that we only have that one NG bait from... Oh, that was the main! Dolan. I didn't realize how committed he really was. The Baileys are rolling on forward as well. Split, Puppy, split! But there's nowhere really to split. The Baileys crash into the Mineral Lion. And this is just forcing Dolan all in. He has 23 workers. That is all he's got right now. He is unsieging. He's going to be sending everything across the map. SoulSpirit likewise doesn't have a lot of drones, but more than his opponents. More than enough at this point. He just has to keep producing Ling Bane enough not to die. Oh, ooh, nice target firing there by SoulSpirit. Does take down the weakened lib. Marines are pushing on forward. One tank to back this up. We are pushing deep onto creep. I'm not too sure about this. Banelings, they roll on forward here. Oh, and the Lings are going to be able to clean everything up on the ground once again. The libs take down these liberators have been alive the entire game. It's actually insane. Once again, Dolan trying to make the most out of these liberation zones, but finally out come these Hydras, forcing everything back. Dolan still has his 2 bases, in a way. He's trickling out whatever he can, but it looks like SoulSpirit just has too much. GG gets called, and SoulSpirit takes the first game for Berserker eSports. Oh. GG. Just messaging Dolan, but GG, Berserker eSports do take that first game, and now we can take a moment to have a look at the rest of the series. Hopping over to our bracket scene. So yes, this is going to be the lineups here today. We have Dolan versus SoulSpirit, Erik versus BattleB. We have a bit of a forfeit against the Maga, and Starduck versus Radko. Oh boy, so we got some pros and we got some cons. Oh. So I am a little bit concerned here. Okay, so a couple of things. One, obviously, we have a lot of our players that aren't available today. Patty Mac is traveling due to Thanksgiving. He doesn't have a PC available. That's also why Patty Mac wasn't playing. Oh, this slideshow is wrong. Patty Mac wasn't able to play in WTL either, World Team League. He was not available for that, unfortunately. So both Patty Mac and Vindicta are not available. So I tried to bring together what I could. Unfortunately, especially at this hour, you know, Oreo isn't available either. So we are down to Dolan, Erik, and Starduck. Couple of things though. Of course, Erik is actually partaking in an exam today. I know, it's just the worst day. It's the worst day for us to compete. Unfortunately, and as a result, Erik, he did message me that he was on his way back home. He was making his way here, but alas, he is still en route, and he's going to be going up against BattleB. Starduck, likewise, it feels like the early days of the CranKy Ducklings. We used to have a copy pasta for Starduck to wake him up for Team League matches, because he just wouldn't wake up. Not just Team League matches, but also just tournaments in general, because he would have very interesting sleep schedules. But alas, Starduck is currently not awake either. So everyone, send your mental alarm bells to Starduck so he can wake up for his match. Because we didn't have the most amazing start here, yeah, things are looking a little bit dire. Oh. And I'm just double checking the maps here. All right, there we go, beautiful. Oh, just letting Dolan know. Oh, just letting you know, beautiful. So Erik did just get home. So we will continue our match here. We'll be continuing, just getting things ready, getting the lobby as well. So Erik is going to be playing indeed against BattleB. Whew. Thank God. He literally just got home. Beautiful, and he's going to be joining us shortly, which again still means that we have time to wake up Starduck. that is the most important thing. That is the most important thing. Unfortunately, our hopes were, or my hopes were, that if both Dolan and Erik were able to perform, even with a couple of forfeits, we could still force the ace match and maybe take the series there. But alas, Dolan did stumble a little bit against SoulSpirit, and that does mean that we will be requiring Starduck here to show up in time, you know, to look to the east on top of that mountain, and hopefully be here in time for his match so that we can bring it to the ace. Oh boy. But we'll see, because BattleB is no pushover. He's a very solid Terran player in his own right, and you know, it isn't going to be the easiest of battles here for Erik. I do believe in my boys, and again, Dolan almost took down SoulSpirit with that transition. Like, it was a pretty close game, all things considered. So I want to believe in our boys. Hello, Frost, hello. did just notice you in the chat. I do apologize, as this was very very haphazard from us. Just a little bit, just a little bit. Again, we didn't even have the countdown screen up for long either. We're just setting up the lobby. Moon dance. With mud. WCS. Should be on US East. Beautiful. Erik is on his way. I just letting them know. We just need a couple of minutes here. I think Erik is just booting up his PC, and then he will be hopping on. Oh boy, oh boy. Also, Radko. I think Radko is Protoss. Am I mistaken? Let me just double check. Radko, oh, he's actually Terran. Okay, I was unfamiliar with his race. Oh no, of course I have to set Starduck up with a PVT. Ah, really, he's asleep on purpose. Really, Starduck, he tuned into the stream in bed. He saw that he was playing against a Terran, and then he just rolled back over in bed. God damn it. Shaking my head, shaking my head. Flash lobby. Okay. As we may just remake lobby. See, we currently don't have Dosis game heart. Okay, that's fine. We can just go. We can count. We can count. It's all good. We can just get into this game. Does mean that whenever workers are going to be going down, we just have to count them one at a time. The old-fashioned way. We can do so. It's all good. Oh, 7 a.m. counting. Let's go. As we are loading into our second game. Of course, Berserker eSports do have a bit of a lead in this series. Just a little bit, though. Just a little bit. And spawning. In the top left-hand corner of Moondance, we have the Brazilian duckling himself. Representing the CranKy Ducklings, he is red, is Erik. And spawning. In the bottom right-hand corner of Moondance, we have the German Terran player himself, representing Berserker eSports. It is BattleB. But here we go. So Erik literally just got home. He just took an exam. I'm sure aced the exam, laid it back home, and now that he has made it here, he's ready to play some StarCraft. He's ready to take some names and prove himself here for the CranKy Ducklings. So far, standard opener, and I'm a little bit shocked here, going for a hatch first in a way. 15 hatch. I guess 14 technically with the I think it was 15 with the gas geyser trick there. Going hatch, pool, and then gas. Interesting, interesting. Of course, with the earlier spawning pool, he can get his queens up and running a little bit faster as well. Erik just has kind of his own approach here to these openers. BattleB, talking about him for a little bit, as far as we're aware, we have been able to cast him a couple of times in DreamHack and in these Team League matches as well. He is a relatively standard player. he does kind of play things by the book. It's not really too cheesy, very defensible as well, and Moondance is not a bad map to do that, where you can kind of take a fast third base here at the pocket. It's not the most important, it's not the most crucial base, as you know, we do have less mineral patches and less gas geysers, but a base nonetheless. So the typical aggression that we do see from Erik can be thwarted by BattleB. So I wonder how Erik is going to approach this, because Erik is typically, a cheesy player, as he takes his third in the pocket. I'm shocked. Oh my god. Interesting, especially because Zerg players don't usually expand here, so it looks like he wants to feign aggression. The Reaper is going to get across the map, is going to poke and prod here at the drone line. In a couple of seconds, the Queen is going to come out, but yeah, we're going to have to morph in a couple of buildings. Ooh, Spore just in time. There we go, every single worker was saved. Lings are running across the map, and it looks like these two Lings are going to get here just in time to delay the CC. There we go, the SCV forced off the line. Marine is going to eventually swat this away, but again, a nice delay nonetheless, just to throw a spanner into the works. Marine's even diving on top of this Marine. Can they get it in the end? It looks like they will not. Marine barely does survive. Nice micro there by BattleB, as he immediately goes for a third CC on location. This is what we were talking about. Because of this map, it is quite common for Terran players to open up in a very greedy and economic fashion. Third CC before starport, on location as well. You can get away with this. Meanwhile, Erik, is taking every single one of his gases. He did open up gasless here on Moondance, which you can do, relying on just queens to defend and taking your faster hatcheries. But now that all 4 gases have been taken, I imagine we're going into a fast lair. We're also going straight into a Roach Warren. We are going to be skipping Ling's speed here. A lot of things are coming together for Erik to go for a pretty decent Roach Ravager push. But this has been spotted by BattleB. He did spot that tech on the wall. Oh! Ooh, are we going to get a full wall off currently? No, we are not. But Erik, he wants it. He wants to save the Queen as well. There we go. The wall is thrown down. Meanwhile, across the map, we see a 3cc Banshee opener. This is scouted by Erik. He dips in with his Overlord, confirming the timing of the starport, confirming that cloak being researched as well. You love to see it. You love to see it. As meanwhile, across the map, the Hellions just going to chip away at this wall. But the wall is quite solid. It's going to take a long time for these Hellions to break through the Evo chamber. And by the time they do, Roaches will come out. Erik, you know, just being cool, calm, and collected, making another wave of drones. Roaches are finally on the way. Queens can always plug up this wall as well if we need them. But at the moment, Erik, he's just, has enough Queens to transfuse. Opts to cancel the Spore. Interesting. And re-walls here just to make sure that Queen does plug in. You have a Spore in the main base. We skipped out on the Spore in both the natural and the third base location. Breathings do get cleaned up, and Erik was quite greedy with his response, only having a single Spore, but he's getting away with it. There we go, another Spore in towards the pocket. No Spore. Instead, an Overseer at the natural. Yeah, honestly, a great response so far. Roaches are moving on now. Do catch a Hellion for free. And with that faster layer, we do have Roach Speed behind this. Roach Speed and +1 range. This Roach push, are we really going to commit here? Yeah, I mean, the Banshee is going to just hard counter these Roaches. One Roach already going down. We're going to be seeing a second Roach going down. Can we get a third? Oh, yeah, we'll get a third. Can we get a fourth? It's a third Roach, and in the end, yeah, a fourth Roach as well. Oof. These Banshees getting a lot of value here. Not necessarily a lot of drone damage, but a lot of Roach damage, which is gas down the drain. Meanwhile, as we do see a Nidus being thrown down, I need to quickly check the vision of Erik. He's got Overlords. He's got, there we go, an Overseer rushing across the map as we speak. More gas mining drones being picked off here. BattleB doing a lot of damage. At the same time, he was not looking at his Hellions. They all get picked off. And here we go. Erik is just sending everything across the map. The Banshee should be able to intercept this, but no, BattleB, he's more concerned with killing workers. No creep connecting these bases. Erik having to respond, but he also has to try and transfuse as well. I say transfuse, he's hoarding that energy to go into the Nidus and reinforce across the map. What do we have at home to defend? We have a full wall and 2 tanks. Oh, but we got Nidus into the main. And it's not being responded to. BattleB, there we go. He does load up these medevacs. He is going straight for the Nidus. The queens come out, so do those roaches. At the same time, Ravagers are being morphed in on the front lines to bust down that wall. Erik has a position here in the main base. Tanks are being rerouted. At the same time, only 1 tank here. 0 tanks in the front wall. And Erik is busting on through. Meanwhile, the army in the main base. Ooh, Erik not quite paying attention. His queens are going to be going down. Ooh, a rough loss here for Erik. But at the same time, he's pushing through that natural base. And the tanks are not where they need to be. Unfortunately, with the death of those queens, that is the death of a lot of the anti-air. These banshees are going to put in a lot of work, and we only have 1 queen remaining. Ooh. If the queens were here, then I would kind of favor Erik right now, but he is forced back, and BattleB is on 2 base economy. Let's try to see what the scan was. There we go. Scan in the main base to clear up all those tumors. We do see Erik trying to expand. Oh my god, the tank, does he get the tank up and running? Oh, a bit of a rough trade there by Erik, forced to dive on top of that tank. Oh, and the tank on the high ground is dishing out so much damage to these roaches. Again, a trade that Erik can't really afford right now. A couple of risky moves here, and Erik is being cleaned up. And he's going to be forced to transition back at home. After all said and done, again, a couple of mistimed biles meant that he had to overcommit to killing some tanks. There's 1 tank on the high ground with 12 kills. Ay. And a lot of dead queens here in the main. Just a couple of mistakes here and there, a couple of slip-ups really do add up, and they mean that BattleB was able to defend, keep a lot of his workers alive, just re-establish himself on 3 bases, and yeah, Erik has to look for a longer game. He didn't want one, but he has to as he takes the 4th. I love this. Erik, he goes for the contamination on the NG Bay, slowing down what upgrades he can. Ooh, and Erik goes straight for an infestation pit. He is going for Roach, Rav, Infester. Interesting. But we do have +1 done here for BattleB. He's going to be moving on forward with his Marine Marauder, trying to find a way up this ramp. Erik has to hold on to this 4th base. If he loses this, then he's never going to get one. And Roaches are just not the ideal unit. BattleB trying to stutter step as hard as he can. To see a Doomdrop going all the way into the main base. What do we have to respond here? A couple of roaches for Erik, a couple of queens as well. Vials are going to force a micro out of BattleB, but this drop may just be too much. Yeah, roaches getting picked off left and right. And in the end, BattleB, he's forced to pick up, but he's just trading so well. At the same time, another drop coming in towards the natural. Not the most committed drop, only a handful of Marines here. But he is pulling apart Erik nonetheless. There's no creep connecting the bases because there's no creep at all because of the lack of these queens. Biles are going to take down a medevac, so nice Biles nonetheless. And oh, we got a Nidus into the main, into the natural, but tanks are in range. Things looking from bad to worse here for Erik. I mean, BattleB doesn't have the best economy either, to be fair, but typically the Zerg wants another base. Typically the Zerg wants to be ahead in drones, so BattleB does have the economic advantage at the moment. Oh, nice target firing here from Erik. Catches BattleB not looking. But here comes the push. Looking at the units tab, we got 5 tanks for BattleB. He is taking his 4th base on location as well. Erik has to force the fight here in the middle of the map. He has to force a siege before this gets across the map. There we go. A couple of biles are going to be connecting, but the Marine Marauder stims on forward as well. And Erik just doesn't have the numbers. He doesn't have the composition here. Even though we had an infestation pit, we didn't get any infestors. Nidus is getting taken down one after the other, and BattleB, he doesn't have to turn around. We do have another Nice into the natural base, into the pocket, but once again, BattleB shuts it down as well. If Erik was going to win this, it would have been with the timing earlier with those Niduses. We do see once again Erik taking a fight, but he's forced to fight within tank range. The Roaches, they're decimated. GG gets called, and BattleB will take game number 2 for Berserker eSports. Oh, GG, well played. Oh, and yeah, a couple of rough games here. Both Dolan and Erik had really good chances to take their games and take down their opponents. Oh, but alas, 'twas not meant to be. Not for the Ducklings here. And yes, Starduck was not able to wake up either. Oh god. Looking at the bracket, just to show off here, we didn't have a player for Dimaga, and we wouldn't have had a player anyway, even if Starduck was facing Dimaga. I guess, like, technically we would have been able to ask for like 10 to 15 minutes, just because we can have that as a walkover period. But yes, unfortunately the Ducklings did not have anyone else available. I mentioned it earlier, both Vindicta and Paddy Mac are not able to play today. Vindicta was unavailable, and Paddy Mac is out of town for Thanksgiving. Paddy Mac is with his family in a different state, so he just doesn't have a PC available to him. So yeah, not the best time, not the best period here for the Ducklings to be playing in BTL. But we did have to play as the BTL round robin season is finishing up. Oh, so alas, we did try our hardest here. We did field a couple of players, but they weren't able to overcome SoulSpirit and BattleB. Feels bad, man. These best of ones, they're rough. They're rough. But you did well. Alright. Just messaging Erik, letting him know that I hope he did well in his exam, as that is of course what he was focusing on today. Hope he did well. That's what matters most. And with that, that is the final season of Berserker Team League for us. Let me just quickly check a couple of things here. Yeah, so I'm a little bit torn about Berserker Team League this season. Unfortunately, our roster isn't as large as it used to be. As I quickly just show off here, boom, the Wikipedia page. Unfortunately, our roster isn't as deep as it used to be. In seasons past, we had a more active roster of Oreo, Starduck, Ryu, Neo, and Erik. Nowadays, we do have a different lineup with our American team with Dolan, Vindicta, and Paddy Mac. Unfortunately, that does mean that we weren't as available because of World Team League. So even though we had a really good score, I'm pretty proud of our score. We did quite well here, 5-3. There were a couple of, I'm pretty sure our only losses were to Platinum Heroes in week 1, where we couldn't field Vindicta because Vindicta was unavailable. So it went all the way to the ace match, and Akedon came out on top. I do think that if we had Vindicta here, we probably would have been able to perform a little bit better overall. We won every other series, but we did have a couple of walkovers. We had this walkover here against Team Gosu last week. We just couldn't get the people together again. It was the week of DreamHack Atlanta, actually, the week of DreamHack Atlanta. And looking at the scores, if we had taken down Team Gosu, I think we probably would have replaced them in the top 4, and we would have been able to advance. So yeah, a little bit of a rough walkover there. I believe we had another forfeit. It was against CSO eSports. Where is it? There it is. Here. A couple of weeks ago, we had another walkover that we had to give to CSO eSports, as we were also unavailable. A lot of our players just were busy at the time, and we couldn't make it to this match either. So yeah, it's twice now. I guess this one, also counts a little bit because we didn't have our full roster. We just weren't able to field them. Whenever our roster did show up, like, we did perform. Like, we took down Psystorm Gaming, which was pretty sick. We took down Infernales. Like, we had some pretty solid results, taking down Cuckoo and players of that nature. So when we did show up, we were quite dominant. But alas, outside of that, we did struggle a little bit when it comes to finding the time to play out our games. And I do think that maybe playing in 2 team leagues at the same time was probably a mistake. Both World Team League and Berserker Team League. I wanted to make sure that everyone had something to play in, especially because we're in the off season for DreamHack. DreamHack Atlanta is now over, but as DreamHack Atlanta finishes, so does Berserker Team League. So it kind of overlapped a little bit. So yeah, I'm a little bit torn with our decision there. Regardless, we did well with what we had, and I'm very proud of all of our boys. I'm very proud of Vindicta, Patty Mac, Dolan, Erik, Starduck, and Oreo. Oreo didn't play in BTL this season, but in the past he did. So yeah, I'm pretty proud with our results overall. Unfortunately, we won't be able to make it into that playoff bracket. I believe it will be Platinum Heroes, Berserker eSports, Team Gosu, and Storm Gaming. 4 very powerful teams. Again, there's a world out there where maybe we could have made it in there instead, but alas, just didn't work out in the end. Smurge, might be Smurge. And we wish them the best of luck in the top 4 in those semi-finals. When it comes to future seasons, whether we'll play in the next season of BTL or maybe another team league, I don't know if we will, because World Team League is still ongoing into early next year. And when it comes to next year, we are still undecided when it comes to how we want to invest in our team, just because we don't know what ESL Pro Tour is looking like. So keep an eye on the social medias, keep an eye on our channel. We'll keep you guys updated next year with what happens after Katowice. Of course, a lot of players are looking to maybe step away after Katowice, depending on if we still have DreamHack for like all the regions, right? For Oceania, Latin America, North America. It's a little bit of a question mark for a lot of people, and it's a little bit scary because of that. But I want to believe, I want to have faith, and as always, we try and support our players as best we can for as long as we can. That is the goal for us here at the CranKy Ducklings. That is our goal. So with that, congratulations once again to Berserker eSports for taking the 3-0. Very well won. Very well won in the end. And yeah, we hope to maybe face off again in the future. Maybe having a bit of a deeper roster available to us to kind of take it to Berserker eSports. Yeah, I mean, we were able to beat Berserker eSports in World Team League. Unfortunately, not here in BTL. Smudge, might be Smudge. But with that, thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. A bit of a shorter broadcast here. Only 40 or so minutes, just under an hour. But I'm also quite tired. It is 7 a.m. and we were casting until late last night. Our next broadcast, I believe, is going to be this evening. Home Story Cup, Oceania, baby. The Oceania qualifiers are upon us, and both Starduck and Oreo will be there. So even though they weren't here for our Team League match, they will be there for Home Story Cup, doing their best to qualify for the main event. We did hear that Miyamika will not be present, as Miyamika cannot get a visa for Home Story Cup in time. Which means that kind of opens things up for everyone else, for all the other Australians. Starduck, Oreo, Azure, Pez, maybe even Probe. I wonder if he'll play. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities there for all these other players. So yeah, I really do look forward to that. Maybe even Piglet. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. When will that be? Let me just double check. I believe it's going to be at 9 p.m. AEDT. So 14 or so hours from now. Today is Monday. Just double checking. Beautiful. Beautiful. So yeah, with that, thank you so much for watching. I hope everyone enjoyed themselves again. You know, a little bit of a smudge results, and we didn't get to have our ace players, but you know, it happens. It happens. With that, thanks for watching, everyone. We will see you guys in 14 hours for Home Story Cup Oceania.